Learning to be kind to yourself. Self-compassion sounds simple, but for most of us, it is one of the hardest things to practice. We know how to be kind to others. We can forgive people who hurt us, comfort friends who are struggling, and offer second chances to almost anyone. But when it comes to ourselves, we can be cold, harsh, and cruel. We replay our mistakes. We tell ourselves we should have known better. We expect perfection from a heart that has been through too much. For people who have lived through pain, betrayal, or disappointment, self-compassion often feels foreign. When you have been let down or abandoned, you start believing you have to be tougher, not kinder. You tell yourself you do not have time to fall apart, that you have to hold it together for everyone else. But that toughness, if it goes on too long, turns into a wall. It keeps out the bad, but it also keeps out the healing. Healing begins when we stop trying to earn our worth and start giving ourselves the same care we would give a child who is hurting. Self-compassion is not about letting yourself off the hook or pretending everything is fine. It is about telling yourself the truth with gentleness. It is saying, yes, that hurt. Yes, I wish it had been different. And I still deserve peace. When your heart has been broken, you do not need to rush to move on. You need to tend to the pieces. You need to let yourself grieve the promises that were broken, the trust that was betrayed, the versions of life you imagined but never got. The healing does not happen by forcing yourself to forget. It happens when you give yourself permission to feel. You can start by noticing how you speak to yourself. When you mess up, when you cry, when you feel weak, what words come to mind? Are they words you would ever say to someone you love? Most of us speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to another human being. We call ourselves names. We tell ourselves we are too sensitive, too needy, too much. The first step to self-compassion is learning to catch that voice and question it. You do not have to believe everything your mind says in the heat of pain. Try replacing criticism with understanding. Instead of, I should have known better, say, I did the best I could with what I knew then. Instead of, I always mess things up, say, I am learning, and it is okay to make mistakes. This is not about lying to yourself. It is about speaking truth with kindness. You can acknowledge your part in things without tearing yourself down. When you have been betrayed or hurt by people you trusted, it is easy to internalize their treatment as proof that you were not enough. But their choices are not a reflection of your worth. They are a reflection of their own limitations. You are not broken because someone failed to love you well. You are human. You had hopes. You gave your trust, and someone mishandled it. That is not your fault. Self-compassion also means giving yourself permission to rest. Trauma teaches you to stay on guard, to expect the next blow, to keep performing. You might feel guilty for slowing down, for saying no, for not being productive. But rest is not laziness. Rest is repair. Your body and mind need time to process what happened. Healing is not a straight line, and it does not happen on anyone's schedule. Some days you will feel strong and hopeful. Other days you will feel like you are right back where you started. Both are part of the process. There will be moments when the grief hits you out of nowhere. Maybe a song, a smell, or a quiet moment alone will bring it all back. When that happens, try not to shut it down. Instead, remind yourself, I can feel this and still be safe. Self-compassion does not erase pain, but it changes how you hold it. You stop fighting it like an enemy and start holding it like a child that needs comfort. If you are healing from betrayal, it can take time to rebuild trust, not just with others, but with yourself. You might question your judgment. You might doubt your instincts. Self-compassion means learning to trust your own heart again. You were not foolish for believing in someone. You were brave for opening your heart in the first place. Betrayal does not mean you are naive. It means you cared. And caring deeply is never a weakness. When life disappoints you, when people do not show up the way you hoped, you can choose to show up for yourself. That is what self-compassion looks like in practice. Making a meal for yourself when you have no appetite. Taking a walk when you would rather stay in bed. Reaching out for help instead of pretending you are fine. These small acts are how you teach your body and mind that you are worth care and attention. There is also something powerful about forgiving yourself for the things you did to survive. The times you stayed too long. The times you kept quiet. the times you numbed out or pushed people away. Those choices were not failures. They were coping strategies. You were trying to protect yourself with the tools you had. Now you have the chance to choose new tools, not because you were wrong before, but because you have grown. Healing is not about becoming the person you used to be before the pain. It is about becoming someone softer and wiser because of what you lived through. Self-compassion is what makes that transformation possible. It lets you integrate your story instead of running from it. It lets you say, yes, this happened and I am still here. If you are struggling right now, try this. Put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, say to yourself, I am trying my best. Feel how simple and human that is. No fixing, no judgment, no conditions, just acknowledgement. You are here, still showing up, still caring. That is what strength looks like. Over time, self-compassion becomes a kind of quiet safety inside you. It becomes the voice that tells you it is okay to start over, to set boundaries, to love again. It reminds you that you do not have to prove your worth to anyone. The healing you are doing is not about forgetting the past. It is about reclaiming your place in the world as someone who is whole, even with scars. You deserve the same gentleness you give to others. You deserve forgiveness, softness, and peace. Self-compassion is not selfish. It is how you rebuild a life after everything fell apart. It is how you learn to live again, not by pretending nothing hurt, but by finally allowing yourself to heal.